There are some moments in the world of fashion that feel bigger than a simple outfit. A celebrity walks into an event, cameras turn, fans react, social media begins moving, and within minutes, an ordinary look becomes one of the most discussed images of the day. But when Park Jimin appears, that process often seems to happen at an entirely different speed. One appearance can generate countless photographs. One hairstyle can inspire conversations. One accessory can become a talking point. One carefully styled outfit can suddenly become the center of attention far beyond the original event. That phenomenon is what fans frequently describe as the Jimin Effect. It is not simply about wearing expensive clothes. It is not simply about having a famous name. And it is certainly not only about appearance. The fascination surrounding Jimin's fashion presence comes from the way he combines clothing, movement, expression, attitude, and personality into a complete visual identity. Whenever Jimin steps into the spotlight, people do not merely look at what he is wearing. They look at how he wears it. And that distinction is extremely important, because fashion is not only about the garment itself. The same jacket can look completely different depending on the person wearing it. The same accessories can communicate different emotions. The same silhouette can feel ordinary on one person and unforgettable on another. Jimin has repeatedly demonstrated an ability to make fashion feel personal. That is one of the reasons his appearances continue to attract enormous attention from fans, photographers, entertainment media, and fashion audiences around the world. The interesting part is that Jimin does not always need an extravagant outfit to create a major reaction. Sometimes the strongest impact comes from simplicity. A clean silhouette, a carefully selected color, a distinctive hairstyle, a pair of sunglasses. A subtle accessory, a relaxed expression, a confident walk. Together, these elements can create something much more powerful than any individual fashion item. And that is where the story of the Jimin Effect becomes especially fascinating. Because the attention does not begin when the cameras start flashing. It begins much earlier. It begins with anticipation. Fans wonder what Jimin will wear. Fashion observers wonder what direction his styling will take. Photographers wait for the perfect angle. Social media users prepare their cameras and screenshots. And once Jimin finally appears, the entire conversation can shift almost instantly. One image becomes another. One video becomes another. One close-up becomes a discussion about styling. One full-body photograph becomes a conversation about proportions and silhouette. One candid moment becomes a viral reaction. The cycle continues. And the more people talk about the appearance, the more visible the original fashion moment becomes. This is one of the most fascinating aspects of modern celebrity fashion. The runway is no longer the only place where fashion influence happens. Airports can become fashion stages. Concert entrances can become fashion moments. Brand events can become global entertainment stories. Red carpets can become cultural conversations. And social media has transformed every public appearance into a potential worldwide showcase. Jimin exists at the center of that transformation. His enormous global following means that an outfit does not simply remain at the location where it was photographed. It travels. It appears on timelines. It is reposted. It is analyzed. It is edited. It is discussed in fan communities. And sometimes, the original fashion item receives attention from people who might never have encountered it otherwise. This is precisely why the relationship between global artists and fashion brands has become so significant. For a major brand, visibility is no longer measured only by traditional advertising. The cultural conversation surrounding an ambassador or celebrity can be equally powerful. A fashion house can spend enormous amounts of money creating a campaign. But when a globally recognized artist naturally wears an item in a highly photographed environment, the resulting conversation can feel more organic. That organic quality is valuable. And Jimin's ability to generate attention makes his fashion appearances particularly interesting. There is another factor that cannot be ignored: consistency. One viral appearance can be dismissed as a lucky moment. Two can be coincidence. But when an artist repeatedly attracts attention across different appearances, different concepts, different styling directions, and different environments, people begin to recognize a pattern. Jimin's fashion identity has developed through exactly that kind of repetition. He can appear elegant without looking distant. He can appear sophisticated without losing his warmth. He can look powerful without relying on excessive styling. He can embrace delicate details while maintaining a strong presence. That balance is difficult. Fashion is often about contrast, strength and softness, minimalism and drama, classic elements and modern details, structure and movement. Jimin has an unusual ability to occupy those spaces simultaneously. Perhaps that is why photographs of him often invite a second look. The first impression may come from his face, the second comes from the outfit, the third comes from the details, and the fourth comes from the way everything works together. That is when a simple appearance becomes a fashion moment. For many fans, this is part of what makes Jimin so fascinating. They do not simply wait to see what he will wear. They wait to see what kind of mood he will create. Will the appearance be elegant? Will it be mysterious? Will it be playful? Will it be bold? Will it be minimal? Will it have a classic influence? Or will Jimin completely change expectations? That unpredictability keeps the audience interested. And fashion thrives on curiosity. The strongest fashion personalities are not necessarily the people who wear the loudest clothes. They are often the people who make audiences curious about what comes next. Jimin has that quality. His fashion evolution has also been important. Over the years, audiences have seen different versions of his style. There have been moments centered around refined tailoring. There have been softer looks. There have been dramatic stage outfits. There have been casual appearances that unexpectedly became major talking points. There have been carefully coordinated luxury looks. And there have been seemingly effortless combinations that generated just as much attention. That range matters. It demonstrates that his influence is not limited to a single aesthetic. He can move between styles while retaining a recognizable identity. And that is an important characteristic for any fashion figure. A brand does not necessarily want someone who can only represent one look. It wants someone capable of bringing an identity to different creative worlds. Jimin's versatility gives him that potential. His presence can support elegance. His presence can support youthfulness. His presence can support sophistication. His presence can support emotional storytelling. And perhaps most importantly, his presence can create conversation. In the digital era, conversation is currency. Every repost represents attention. Every search represents curiosity. Every discussion represents engagement. Every fan-made edit represents additional exposure. And every fashion-related conversation can extend the life of an appearance far beyond the original event. That is the modern version of celebrity influence. It is no longer enough to be seen. You have to remain visible. And Jimin has repeatedly demonstrated extraordinary visibility. When fans encounter a new photograph of him, the reaction can be immediate. Some focus on his hair. Others notice his jewelry. Some analyze the jacket. Others focus on his shoes. Some talk about the color palette. Others simply say that he looks incredible. Different audiences notice different details. That diversity of reactions creates something larger than a single fashion discussion. It creates a community conversation. And from a branding perspective, that is incredibly powerful. Imagine a fashion item appearing in a photograph. Without celebrity association, it may receive a limited amount of attention. But place the same item within an appearance by a globally recognized figure, and suddenly thousands or millions of people may become curious. Who designed it? What collection is it from? What brand produced it? What inspired the look? Can it be purchased? What other pieces are available? The fashion conversation expands. This does not mean that every viral moment automatically translates into sales. That would be an oversimplification. But it does demonstrate the power of visibility. And Jimin possesses visibility on an extraordinary scale. His connection with global audiences has also made him an especially interesting figure for luxury fashion. Luxury brands have increasingly looked beyond traditional fashion audiences. They want cultural relevance. They want global reach. They want emotional connection. They want personalities capable of introducing their visual language to new generations. Jimin represents an intersection of those qualities. He belongs to a generation of artists whose influence is not confined to one country. His audience is global. His cultural reach crosses language barriers, and his fashion moments can become international conversations almost instantly. That makes his appearances valuable not merely as celebrity photographs, but as cultural events. There is also something deeply important about the emotional relationship between Jimin and his fans. Fashion attention around him is not purely commercial. Fans often connect specific outfits with memories. A particular look may remind them of a concert. Another may remind them of a music release. Another may become associated with a special appearance. Another may simply become memorable because of Jimin's expression in the photograph. This emotional dimension makes fashion more than clothing. It becomes storytelling. And Jimin is exceptionally effective at visual storytelling. Consider the power of a single image, Jimin standing still. The lighting falling across his face, the fabric moving slightly, his posture relaxed, his expression controlled, the camera captures the moment. The image appears online. Within minutes, fans begin discussing it. Some describe the look as elegant, others call it iconic, some focus on the details, others recreate the styling. Soon, the photograph has taken on a life of its own. That is the Jimin effect. The clothes begin the story. Jimin continues it, and the audience amplifies it. This is also why his styling choices are frequently examined so closely. When an artist has a recognizable fashion identity, small changes become meaningful. A different hairstyle can completely transform the mood. A different jacket can alter the silhouette. A different color can change the emotional impression. A different accessory can add personality. Jimin understands, whether consciously or through collaboration with professional stylists, that fashion is built from details. And details are where memorable images are created. The power of his fashion presence is particularly visible when he chooses minimalism. Minimalism is difficult because there is nowhere to hide. With an extravagant outfit, visual complexity can attract attention. With a simple outfit, the person becomes the focus. Every movement becomes visible. Every proportion matters. Every facial expression becomes important. Jimin's ability to make simple styling feel compelling demonstrates the strength of his personal presence. That is a quality that cannot simply be purchased. A luxury label can provide exceptional clothing. A stylist can create a sophisticated combination. A photographer can capture a beautiful image. But the celebrity has to bring the final ingredient, presence. And presence is one of Jimin's defining strengths. There is also a fascinating relationship between his stage identity and his fashion identity. On stage, Jimin is known for movement. His performances are dynamic. His choreography requires precision. His expressions communicate emotion. His body language can shift from powerful to delicate within seconds. Off stage, however, his fashion presence often becomes quieter. That contrast creates intrigue. The same artist can command an arena with movement and then command a camera with stillness. That is rare. It means his visual influence does not depend entirely on performance. Sometimes, simply standing in front of a camera is enough. This is one reason fashion photographers can find such value in artists with strong visual identities. A photograph is fundamentally about presence. The subject must communicate something without speaking. Jimin is capable of doing exactly that. His expressions can create different narratives. A subtle smile can make an image feel warm. A serious expression can create sophistication. A direct gaze can make a photograph feel intense. A playful expression can completely change the mood.